My name is Michael Savoie. I'm the director of the Center for Information Technology and Management at the University of Texas at Dallas. I am from Northlake, Texas, originally from Belrose, Louisiana, which is right outside of New Orleans.
The center deals with emerging technologies. We look at the latest and greatest technologies that are coming out, and we look at the commercialization potential of those technologies. As part of the work that the center does, we've started a lecture series called An Afternoon With. The Afternoon With series is designed to bring together thought leaders in industry and give you an opportunity to hear them not in a 30-second soundbite, but to actually spend an hour or so sitting down with a thought leader about how technology is being used in their organization, how they're implementing it, and what they see as the integration of technology in business. We are business students for the most part, or business professionals, and so what we really want to understand is how technology is used, not only today, but moving forward. Once again, would you join me in welcoming Jeff? Jeff, we started with a slideshow that hopefully everybody got a chance to kind of look at. And it went through several of the items that you are working on right now. Okay? What I'd like to do is kind of walk through those a little bit and talk about where you are and where HP is as far as the things that they're working on. So why don't we start with just kind of the broad trends that you sent me a presentation talking about broad trends. So if you would please, as we get started, help me welcome Mike Feller from Plano Medical Center. Would you join me in welcoming Miss Anita Foster from the American Red Cross? So we're going to go ahead and get started now. If you would please join me in welcoming to the stage Javed Hussain, Chief Technology Officer. What I want to do first is I want to introduce Sue McMillan to you. Sue is the Chief Executive Officer of the Texas Guaranteed Student Loan Corporation. She's been CEO there since 2004. And Sue is wonderful to join us today, I mean, really, because she's extremely busy. She travels a lot. She's on several boards for the U.S. Department of Education. She represents the student loan industry on a number of different panels. Like I said, in addition to her role as CEO at TG. So it's really exciting to have her with us today and have some time to visit with us. So if you would please join me in welcoming Sue McMillan. We are extremely excited today to have Jeff Word with us. Jeff is the Senior Vice President of Product Development at SAP. I've known Jeff for, I don't know, 40, 50 years, something like that?
4.
About 4 years. We've worked on a number of different projects together, working to bring SAP into the universities and take some of what the university is doing in terms of research and development and helping apply that. For those of you who don't know, Jeff is, I don't know what your official title is, but I know you're
Senior Fellow now.
Senior Fellow now, okay. So Jeff is Senior Fellow and Futurist at Hewlett-Packard Corporation. And under Jeff falls all of the HP labs and various other aspects of what Hewlett-Packard is doing. In addition to that, Jeff spends a lot of time advising various governments and corporations, and he does a lot of time on television and various other things, talking about how technology is affecting the future and taking that beyond technology, but also looking at socioeconomic impacts. So it's very exciting to have him here with us today. And we're going to start, Jeff, I'm going to sit down, and we're going to start with kind of, if you would, give everybody kind of an overview of where we are right now. We talked about cognitive cycles. And the trends that are happening. Can you kind of just, in an overview, tell everybody what cognitive cycles are, where we are right now, and kind of what we're looking at moving forward? Good afternoon, everyone. I want to welcome you all to An Afternoon With. I'm Dr. Michael Savoie. I run the Center for Information Technology and Management here at the University of Texas at Dallas. I am thrilled today to have with us Mr. Pete Walsh. Join me in giving him a hand. Pete is the former CIO of the Dallas Cowboys. So we're going to talk a little bit today about what it's like to work for Jerry Jones and what it's like to go and build that stadium out on the prairie and put all the technology that's in it. And so we'll have a nice talk about that. The other thing Pete's doing is he's doing a number of consulting opportunities with various professional sports teams. And he's also working with the Formula One racing group down in Austin to bring in the Formula Series. This is the last of our spring series, and we're very excited to have Mr. Mike Anderson, who's the founder and president of Aragon Research, with us today. So if you would, please join me in giving him a hand. If you will, join me in welcoming our guest today, Mr. Brian Rozek from TI. To have you with us today. We're very excited to have Jeff Katz from IBM with us. Jeff is CTO of the Energy and Utilities Division,
Industry
of IBM. Chief.
Regardless of whether a business operates solely as a storefront, does business with the consumer in a storefront location and on the internet, or sells its goods and services to the consumer only on the internet, they all have one common goal.
It's to make a profit, it's to make money. And I think, unfortunately, a lot of times businesses forget that. But the fundamental goal of any business is to be profitable. The biggest issue for individuals as they're starting companies is to really focus on what it is that they want to become. I mean, if you think about it, any business needs a business plan, they need a marketing plan, they need to understand the technology that's associated with the business to support the business functions. They need a marketing rollout plan, understanding where they're going to start, how they're going to roll their business out as the business grows. You look at the traditional business components, you look at finance, you look at accounting, marketing, operations, logistics, selling. But I think regardless of whether a business is on the web or is a bricks and mortar or a combination of the two, the fundamentals of business still apply.
Say that. So.
I'm not allowed to say that one? Okay.
No, and I think it goes back to what we talked about before, and that is understanding the role of the human being in the process, right? And what the computers can do and what they are going to be able to do as supercomputing capabilities develop over the next 10 to 20 years and where that comes into play. Logic is where we need to go, and I'm going to say this a little bit kind of odd, but logic, the computers are really good at understanding logic, right? If you want to defeat a computer, do it illogically. Okay? Humans are really good at being illogical. Okay? So part of it is realizing the role that we play and the benefit we bring to the table. It's not us and then the computer. It is a system, and how do you build that system such that it can defeat whatever it is that you're trying to defeat. And that involves decoupling, it involves understanding the individual components, it involves understanding how those components are going to interact, and then understanding that if you stand still, somebody's going to blow you up. When I think you get into the issue too, John, and you and I have talked about this before, cybersecurity, in the world that we're entering in this fourth wave, to the majority of people is not sexy. It's not, when you start talking about, I want my refrigerator to be able to connect to the internet so it tells me when my milk is going bad, whatever. And everybody goes, oh, that's so cool. Yeah, but I can use that. You plug that into your network at your house, and I have access to the root directory of your servers at your house or your PCs at your house. I can go get your bank accounts. I can do identity theft. And I'm doing it all through a refrigerator, or I'm doing it through a smart alarm clock, or I'm doing it through your water bill, your water meter, or your gas meter. And that's the part that we're trying to get people to understand. And I think and I agree with Jeff, I think that's part of the growing that's involved here. We do a lot of work with social media and organizations. And one of the dichotomies is exactly what you brought up, is that if you enable a social media tool within an organization, you enable a great deal of rights, if you will, to the individual in the use of that tool. And most companies don't think that through really well before they put the social media tool out there. They really think of it in a very basic, if I give a collaboration tool to my employees, they'll become more productive. They don't really understand that when you give them that collaboration tool, you are giving up the power to go in and control that. You're giving them that control. And you've got to be willing to accept that there's going to be positives and negatives associated with that.
Last 3 recessions, I'm a natural negative.
It's, I do think that we will mature. The question is not will we mature. The question is how much damage will we do while we're growing.
Will the institutions that control this, enable this, mature? I think they will have to.
Yeah. And I think one of the things that the Arab Spring did teach us is that governments that are completely out of touch with their citizens, and I would even take that down to corporations that are completely out of touch with their investors, their stakeholders, their employees, can be attacked very quickly in a very cohesive way, and that is something that is new, that traditional way.
I think one of the conclusions that can be drawn is from the companies that have tried to do the transition is that companies really need to take a good hard look at who their customers are and where their markets are. You have to understand that the web consists of over 1 billion web pages now. And so if you're going to go and create, be 1,000,000,001 on the web, the question becomes, why are people going to come to you? You are the proverbial needle in the haystack. So why are customers going to come to you versus going to either their local retailer or some other online retailer? What brings them to your store? What brings them back? How do you keep those customers as lifelong customers? How do you compete in terms of cost factors on the web when there is complete transparency of cost and price on the web? There isn't any price elasticity. In other words, you can't be 15, 20, 30% more expensive than your neighbor who's selling the same product, unless, of course, you have some value-added service that's going with it. So you have to look at all of those components, and you have to translate what you do in your storefront and figure out whether those things can transition to the web or not. If they can, great, how do you do it? If they can't, then how do we make up for that lost value that we bring to the value chain when we move it to the web?